Hi Reddit, I'm here to talk about my annoying sister and her even more annoying antics, which have landed her in huge trouble. I want to get straight to the point. I've seen people vent, take suggestions, and rant over here, so I'll do the same and hope that my posts will get as much importance and comments as the ones I read. So, long story short, tell me, how would you feel if your sister started dating your ex? Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me. So, my sister has always been pretty jealous and competitive. That is a nice way to say what an insecure little bitch she has been. And I have been good. I know it feels weird and difficult to believe considering my way of explaining things, but trust me when I say this. I tried way too hard to be okay with it all. I tried. Anyway, coming to the important backstory I've seen everyone adding, it's really nothing special or informative in my case, except for my sister trying to get me scolded for her deeds or stealing my stuff or just messing with me forever. That pretty much defines our relationship, and to be honest, we have no more love for each other than the default sibling thing you have for your sister. Our mom has always tried really hard to instill a sense of family and that we should take care of one another and all that. Clearly, I was the only child listening to our mom. Now, let's talk about her boyfriend, that is, my ex. There's not much to talk about my sister anyway, and I don't want to waste any more time on her than required. So, this wonderful guy my sister is dating made my life a literal living hell filled with insecurities, body image issues, gaslighting, eating disorders, and whatnot. Yeah, that happened. And after a long time of believing that I was worth nothing, I finally realized how my relationship was the root cause of everything that was wrong with my life. Back then, I literally had to go to therapy. I developed an eating disorder because of his constant comments regarding my body. I felt ugly and useless. My life was a mess, and all I wanted was for him to treat me like a person. That didn't happen. The bare minimum wasn't provided, and my sister was a silent spectator of this entire thing. But she had the audacity to go into a relationship with this guy months after I had started healing. My deadbeat ex, who never realized what his faults were and labeled me as a crazy, dramatic woman, started dating my sister, and I kept quiet. Sure, we had a few debates, if I may call it that, but I was cool with her doing whatever she wanted. We never interfered much with one another's lives. 3 months after they started dating, he proposed and she accepted. It's like we had zero idea. She had come dancing one day showing off her engagement ring. Our parents were really angry, but she promised that he was a great guy for her and they loved each other and all that. All right, is this vent getting aggressive? I'm getting angry thinking about everything, and I feel that energy is getting soaked here. Yeah, so back to me. I always sort of wanted to have a big birthday party, and it was my 25th birthday. It had to be a good event, right? So I planned it all, a fun-filled event with friends and family. And of course, my sister tried to convince my parents that it was a stupid and that they should just talk me into dropping the idea. But that didn't work, and soon my birthday came. I was so happy, but then my sister did something as always to ruin it. Only this time it was pretty serious, and I was already keeping quiet about things for her sake. But this made me rethink even trying to watch her back. So she decided to stomp at my birthday party and demanded that I turn it into an engagement party because she was already done with the proposal but wanted an engagement party. I told her that she could throw a party on any other day, but she just started yelling and said that I was a cheapskate for not letting her share. She wanted to turn this into her party, and as I denied it, both my sister and her fiance started bashing me. So I gave up what I was keeping inside. This stupid guy had been stealing from me, and I kept quiet because I wanted to talk to her about this first. Now, no one, especially not my sister, would believe any word without proof. I'll tell you exactly what I did. When I realized that someone was stealing from me, first money, then jewelry, and so on, I decided to buy a mini security cam and install it in my room to catch the thief. I suck at tech and couldn't install it, but after some trials, I made it happen. And yeah, there he was, all recorded in the video, opening the drawers in my room and stealing anything of value. I had intentionally kept my ring there as bait, and this man took it. So I had proof, and I was so set to do something. But he was engaged to my sis, so informing her seemed wise. But alas, the situation demanded something else. As both of them kept on yelling and bashing me, I screamed at them and said that she should dump this guy as he was a thief. He denied it, so I showed the video to everyone, and on that revelation, this man turned against my sis and blamed her, saying it was all her idea. I was not shocked, but a little disappointed. She denied, and they started arguing in the middle of the room, throwing accusations at one another. I silenced them and laughed at her face, saying that she should forget about the whole engagement party plans and prepare for a court case because, with the proof and him literally turning against her like this, not to mention it was getting recorded, as I wanted my entire party to get recorded and later edited, it was pretty much over for her. She was stunned and didn't say a word. Good for me, probably because I didn't want to hear another word as well. She tried to start explaining, but I told her to leave, or I would call the cops right then. On hearing this, both of them quickly left without saying anything. Update 1. So the court case is in motion and the current mood of the family is mixed. My dad wants me to solve it in the house while my mom supports me. However, she is also of the opinion that even though my sis is wrong, it's dishonorable for the family, so I should not involve her and make it against her fiancé. But that's not in my hands because he sold her out. Apparently, they discussed it all over text, and to save himself, he blamed her. So typical of him. As for my sister, she has been pretty silent about it all since the birthday party. I don't know what her plan is or what's going on in her mind, but it's unusual for her to be so silent. Even after all of these, my birthday was ruined. I just wish I would get the space to celebrate one thing in life without constantly worrying about my sister's sabotaging attempts. It's so tiring and mentally exhausting. Because of this stress, I've been giving a pretty bad performance in my work as well. Like, my boss asked me to take a leave for a few days and then join back with a fresh mind because it was clearly visible that my work was getting affected. So yeah. Update 2. All right, the comments are wonderful, so my heart is just full of love and I might be a little emotional. Yeah, you guys are just the best. So here's the update on my messy life. My sis came to talk to me. A lot of things happened. She initially apologized and asked me to take the case back. I obviously said that I would not do it. She kept on requesting again and again and again, but I was rigid. I probably would have changed my mind, but the next thing that happened just made me even more sure. My sister, angry because Her Highness decided to apologize and I didn't even flinch, got physical with me out of nowhere. She literally grabbed my hair and slapped me. This happened on her way out, so the door was open and the neighbors saw us. It was a misdemeanor assault, and believe me when I say that I was going to make a big deal out of it. She had badly scratched me. She had gone full feral, and I was not taking it. Update 3. Hi guys, we'll be keeping this short. First, yes, I am okay. Thank you for getting so worked up about my safety. I feel loved. Anyway, the hearing took place. Since the jewelry was something close to $4,000, they were to be in jail for like 3 months, along with having to pay a fine. A quite heavy fine at that. A classic example of karma. I don't feel bad for my sis, not even a little. She deserved exactly this. I was so done with trying to keep a bond that never existed. I'm moving to a different city soon, away from all of these. NTA, I would do the same if not more. You gave them plenty of chances. She is a brat, and this might open her eyes, although I doubt that. But this is going to give you some much needed space. That's important. Happy for your girlie. NTA, the moment you said that she's dating your ex, I was like, no. This is the basic girl code. Like, you don't. You just don't. And she had the audacity to demand to change your birthday party into her engagement party, knowing full well that it's your goddamn ex? Horrible woman. Serves her right for what she did. Such a horrible person. Next story. I, 25, female, just found out that my brother, 26, male, has set a date for his wedding. To make a long story short, I'll give you the bullet point version of events up until now. 1. My brother was dating a girl for 2 years, but he broke up with her to be alone for a while and focus on himself. 2. Not 3 weeks later, he had a new girlfriend that I found out about via Instagram. 3. I confronted him about not communicating this new development with me, expressing that I didn't appreciate finding this out on social media. He apologized and said he would call me next time. 4. About a week later, him and his new girlfriend came to visit so we could meet her. Call it sister's intuition, but seeing as my brother never would visit out of the blue, I was suspicious. 5. My suspicions were confirmed when that afternoon they announced they were engaged. Just to recap the timeline, they had been dating for barely 6 weeks, and we had only just met her a few hours before this announcement. We, my parents, me and my husband, were all speechless to say the least. We didn't want to make her feel like she was not welcome before we even had the chance to get to know her properly. It wasn't her fault my brother was blindsiding us. So we congratulated them and tried to act enthusiastic about it all. Also, I just found out last week that they were having a baby. Again, speechless. Let me be clear, if my brother is happy, I'm happy. But I'm still getting used to the idea of this perfect stranger being my sister-in-law. So finding out they were pregnant was a lot to process. My husband and I have not had the opportunity in the past couple of years to celebrate our anniversary in any way. We decided this year we wanted to travel and visit some friends out of state that we haven't seen since prior to COVID. We have already taken time off of work and bought our plane tickets. Yesterday, my mother tells me that my brother and his fiancée have set a date for their wedding during the time my husband and I are meant to be on our anniversary trip. I expected at the very least for him to check with his immediate family to make sure there wasn't anything we already had planned, especially since the wedding is happening on such short notice. My mother hinted that I should try to reschedule or delay my anniversary trip to be at my brother's wedding. Full honesty, I don't know if I want to. Not just because of the money we have already invested into this trip, but because, 1, he knows when my anniversary is, so he shouldn't have planned his last-minute wedding in the same week. And 2, he didn't communicate with me again. If he really wanted his sister there, I'd assume he would have at least called me before setting a date. I would have been happy to celebrate my anniversary a week before or after if I had been given the chance. I can tell he is upset about the possibility of me not being there, but I feel he has dug his own grave. AITA? Update for some added context. No, I don't expect my brother to tell me everything, get approval from me before he does something. This is all happening on the tail end of a conversation we had about trying to be in each other's lives more. That compounded with that fact. Personally, I don't like finding out major life updates from my immediate family through social media. He knows this and still didn't call me to tell me he had a new girlfriend. Regardless, I wasn't angry. The word confronted has an aggressive connotation. I just wish he had told me directly. I'm not judging his decisions in the slightest. He's welcome to start dating, break up with someone whenever he chooses. I was only attempting to emphasize the rushed timeline of it all. And yes, He knew my anniversary date. I spoke to him over the phone just days before my mother told me they had set a date and mentioned that we would travel for our anniversary this year. He was aware enough that if he wanted to make sure there wasn't any scheduling conflict, he would have called, but he didn't. To clarify, they were together for almost 2 months before announcing the engagement and waited another 5 weeks to announce the pregnancy. I think the baby is definitely his. They just want to get married before the baby comes, hence the shotgun wedding. P.S. It's not absurd to expect your brother to tell you directly he has a new girlfriend after telling you he's going to be single for a while, especially when his Instagram captions consisted of "she's the love of my life" and "I can't wait to spend forever with you" and "you're the best thing that's ever happened to me." I expected to not find out via social media that my brother met his supposed future wife 3 weeks after he told me he was swearing off dating for a while. There is a lot of nuance and context that is left out of this situation, lol. Some of y'all clearly don't have siblings. NTA, you're not required to change your established plans in response to developments like this if they aren't communicated to you in time. Next story. Context. I live with my boyfriend, which I love deeply, and I am convinced it's the love of my life. Living together has been fantastic until now. Situation. Since the beginning of the year until today, we moved in together 3 months ago, he has been having sleeping problems. According to him, he needs total darkness, no TV, a podcast as background noise, and 30 minutes of reading. Here is where it gets complicated. I have severe anxiety, and mostly all the time I'm struggling with intrusive thoughts. For this, I use the TV as background noise to fall asleep and to drown my intrusive thoughts. But I am more than willing to compromise. Once he is in bed, I shut down the TV even if I'm not sleeping. However, his system hasn't been working and he ends up waking me up around 3:39 a.m. I check the time because I feel I miss my alarm. And once I'm awake, I cannot fall asleep again. Lack of sleep and anxiety are a terrible combo. I feel drained the whole day ahead of me. Drained in a way that I am incapable of feeling an ounce of joy during the day, to the point that it's really bad and the thoughts come back. I have done a lot of work in therapy to recognize this, and I am able to handle it. For the amount of energy that requires me and impacts my work, my school, and my extracurriculars. For the last 2 weeks, I have been woken up at least 4 times, and given the nature of my crappy job, I don't have time to recharge, or I can call in sick because it's going to be money out of my paycheck that for other reasons I desperately need. Last night was the same situation. I got upset and went to the living room and started to watch a show in my laptop. My boyfriend came to the living room and asked me to come back to bed. I did, and I stayed there in silence until it was time for me to go to work. I had an appointment earlier today that I couldn't manage to go to because of the anxiety. I am desperate in here. I mentioned to my boyfriend that he should go to the doctor and get a reason why he cannot sleep, but he insists he wants to deal with it naturally. I will admit that I left the house upset today. I have a whole 8-hour shift ahead of me. One essay to write and a test to write, but I'm barely capable to put sentences together. I'm considering spending the night in an Airbnb or a hotel, but I don't want to create a conflict. I literally just want to sleep, to feel myself again. Edit. Hey guys, I wasn't expecting this level of response, and I am very grateful for that. Since I made this post, my manager sent me home because he noticed I wasn't well. I came home and I have a discussion with my boyfriend. I took some notes from the comments and we have arranged some solutions, some more immediate and alternative plans. He agreed on checking with the doctor to get some better advice. I compromised to watch TV in the living room instead of on the bed for a couple of days to give it a try. We both agree that our sleeping dynamics will need some work, but we are both willing to do it. He apologized for the whole thing. I explained to him the dimension of my anxiety and how it extrapolated to the rest of my life. For those arguing that my intrusive thoughts are mostly the issue, which it is partially, I guess that when you live 26 years in a country that's in war, there are some scars that never leave. Please count your blessings. NTA, separate bedrooms are great. Also, him coming in and asking you to come back to bed was out of line. He's causing the problem. He needs to be receptive to how you are dealing with it. NaH, but a hotel only helps for one night. You and your boyfriend are incompatible for sleep. If this is not going to change, may I suggest separate bedrooms? Many couples do this. Stay tuned for more stories from Argo Relationships.